Do we have too much government?
We need to put people ahead of corporate profits.
This system is so lopsided.
This threat is a real threat to democracy.
And I think that's really important. That's something we haven't been doing in this country for a long time.
Where do you start? What do you do? How do you do it?
Access to Democracy is sponsored by Thomson Reuters, providing legal professionals with the intelligence, technology, and human expertise they need to find trusted answers. Products include Westlaw, Practical Law, and Firm Central legal practice management software for small law firms. Thomson Reuters, the answer company. Online at thomsonreuters.com. Access to Democracy is made possible in part by a donation from Firefly Credit Union. Firefly is the new name of U.S. Federal Credit Union, which has proudly served the financial needs of the Greater Twin Cities community since 1925. At Firefly, we guide our members forward and give them the power to chase dreams by delivering the financial solutions they need to get ahead. From checking accounts to mortgages, we'll light the way. We are Firefly Credit Union, and this is Life Illuminated. And Dr. Charles Crutchfield of award-winning Crutchfield Dermatology in Eagan, acknowledged as one of the nation's best physicians. A Minnesota native who trained at the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Crutchfield personally treats all patients and states that experience counts and quality matters. Crutchfield Dermatology. Look good, feel great, with beautiful skin.
Welcome. Access to Democracy. Today, Access to Democracy, with me, as usual, your host, Alan Miller, will delve into Minnesota, the state of hockey. We have a first-time guest, fascinating story, Coach Mike Eaves from St. Olaf College, the men's hockey coach. And Mike, welcome.
Thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to our chat.
Now, to be in the presence of a two-time All-American hockey player is really something. To be in the presence of a man who coached at the University of Wisconsin for 14 years, won numerous awards, including a national championship, went to the national finals, I think, 7 times, coached the U.S. national team to victory, the national juniors team. There is just so much you can say about Mike Eaves and his background. That's incredible. I was first drawn to reading about him by a large feature in the New York Times. And here he is now, and we'll talk about that because he's gone from the apex in terms of college hockey to a struggling Division III team at St. Olaf's. And why don't you take us on some of that journey?
Well, I've been blessed in my life to have had hockey be my greatest teacher, and it's provided a lifestyle for our family, and it's taken us on many paths along the way and shown us many lessons. And it's funny you mentioned some of those things about the successes we've had, but there's been a plenty of times where we were in struggles, and you're probably in those times more than you're celebrating a championship, and you're learning more about yourself at those times. But as I said, we've been blessed to have been from, as you said, I played pro hockey. After I went to school at the University of Wisconsin. I was there for my 4 years, graduated with a degree in kinesiology. Went on to an 8-year pro career, was here with the North Stars for 5 years, back when they were the North Stars. Got traded to Calgary, Alberta. Was up there playing for my college coach, Bob Johnson. Had a little bit of a run-in with concussions, which are really now a big topic of discussion.
They certainly are.
In athletics in whole. And at the time, I decided to retire. I was 28, had two young boys, and I thought it was time to get out of the game. And Bob Johnson gave me a chance to coach at that level as kind of an assistant coach. And from there, again, blessed to get a head coaching job at the University of Eau Claire, and that was the beginning of the coaching career. And interesting enough, that first year in Eau Claire, we played at St. Olaf in the rink that we still play in right now, which is probably one of the coldest rinks, Alan, in the whole state. And so that's where it all began, and then we went from Eau Claire to St. Cloud. And then I got a call from an old teammate friend, Paul Holmgren, who's from the Twin City area. He was going to be the head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. So we went out and were in the Flyers organization for about 6 years. Went to Hershey, coached the Hershey Bears for a little bit of that. And then we decided to do something for our family, so we came back to the Midwest. And we ended up at Shattuck St. Mary's, a prep school down in Faribault, Minnesota. And we were there for a year, and we got a call. GM was looking for a North American coach over in Finland in their pro league. And my wife is the one who convinced that we needed to do that for our kids. To travel abroad and have that experience would be a good thing. So we jumped over there for a year. And from there, they went back to Shattuck. I went to Pittsburgh with the Penguins for about 2.5 years. We got fired at Christmas time. You're never really a coach till you get fired, a pro coach. So we came back to Shattuck, was lucky enough to get this job with the USA Hockey National Development Team in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we were there for 2 years, and from there, as things have it, sometimes things are out of control. The Wisconsin job opened up where my wife was from, and I graduated, and we were fortunate enough to get that job, so we were there for 14 years. And then we got let go a year ago.
What's amazing to me is that you're only 39 years of age.
I wish. So after, then we went to Wisconsin for 14 years, and we got let go a little over a year ago. And again, we feel blessed that we got to St. Olaf.
That's where the story really gets even more interesting. Because like everything else, what have you done for me lately? Yeah. You have won, you took them to the finals so many times. You took them into the NCAA. You won the national title. You had 2 mediocre years, and they showed you the door, which I guess is what big-time college athletics is all about now. Win, win, win. But amazingly, you are now at St. Olaf's, a Division III team. And tell us how you got there.
It actually begins with our older son, Ben. Ben was at St. Olaf about 3 years ago as an assistant coach to then coach Sean Goldsworthy. And Ben was back applying for a full-time strength and conditioning program, which was opening up for the first time at St. Olaf. The school had just hired a full-time athletic director, and he was interviewing Ben at the time, and asked Ben what I was doing as my next step, because St. Olaf was also looking for a hockey coach at this time. And it was kind of an informal conversation that led to a formal conversation, that led to a formal interview, and some things seemed to fall in place here for us, Alan. First of all, it would be a chance to work with our older son, Ben, which we thought would be fun to do.
Certainly.
And
your other son, I think, is out in Arizona? Or
actually,
something?
Anaheim. He just signed a new 3-year deal, and so he's going to Anaheim. So good for him. And so Ben was there.
In hockey?
Yes, with the National Hockey League. So so Ben was going to be there. That was a nice thing. We have actually, when we lived at the Shattuck, or worked for the Shattuck School, my wife had purchased a small kind of weekend cabin just about 12 miles away from St. Olaf. And we thought that we would have it for a little bit, and then when the kids moved away, we would sell it. But the kids kept coming back to this area in the summertime. And we held on to it. Then we got the job in Wisconsin. We held on to it. And now it's our full-time home.
And you're only 12 miles away from the college.
So that was a real pull.
But there's more to the story than that, because you don't practice at the college.
Correct. The third piece I was going to share with you is the fact that we play at the Northfield rink, and it's an old rink. And one of the projects that the athletic director, a gentleman named Ryan Bowles, was in charge of and wanted to get going, was trying to build an on-campus arena for our student athletes, for both our men's and women's program. Right now, we practice in the afternoon because it's the only time we can get ice. Our women's team actually sometimes has to go to Faribault most of the time to practice. So it's been a big project for us. But
when you practice in the afternoon, you often don't have a full team.
Yeah, one of the first things we
You
do,
had to recruit a team, if I'm not mistaken.
well, because a lot of our kids have labs in the afternoon, the first thing that Ben and I would do in the mornings when we came in was, okay, who can't be at practice today? And we would have to juggle all our lines and, do we have enough kids for the power play, for the penalty killing? And so there was days on Thursdays that we wouldn't have our full squad on the ice. We certainly would have, maybe for the last 20 minutes we would have our full squad because kids are coming from labs and such. So,
and one of the things that they emphasize at St. Olaf's is education first, sports second. And that in and of itself is refreshing.
It's an excellent academic school, and we have a great music program as well. And as our athletic director said, he wants academics to be first, but he would like music and athletics to be second, one under the same. So we're getting there. As a matter of fact, Alan, I can share with you right now that we have been able to secure an anonymous lead gift for our new rink. So we are hoping that this fall we will be able to have an announcement that we can share with everybody as to what our next step for our on-campus
maybe
is.
Access to Democracy can help you get there, because over 18 years we have accumulated quite a following here, and the needs of the school in terms of hockey can't be overstated. You need your own area. When you can't have your full team at practice. Now talk about how you recruited some volunteers to come in and take the place of your actual students. How did that work?
Well, we have, actually the volunteer part is that we can get coaches to come in and volunteer coach. So we would have to get some coaches to come in, and they would actually jump in drills with our kids. So they would fill a left wing if we needed a left wing.
That's what I was pointing to, yeah.
So it's kind of, and you know what, the volunteer coaches love it because it's fun for them, it's recreational, but at the same time, as a head coach, you need to have your team there. You need to be working at things that are going to help you try to be successful on the weekends.
Now, how far is St. Olaf from here in Egan? Or something?
Well, it only took me about 37, 40 minutes to get up here.
Okay,
So
that's what I was pointing to.
Not too bad at all. It was an easy drive.
And we need probably, what, $6 million for this rink?
That's correct, sir. Yes, so
we got one nice anonymous gift
yeah.
to kick that off, but we really need additional donations and people to step forward to help this wonderful academic school also have a wonderful hockey team. And I know that this past year was better than the previous year, but there's still a long way to go. And one of the incredible things to me is in interviewing some of the members of the St. Olaf hockey team from the New York Times article, they were astounded by your background, your experience, and your ability to pass it on to them in coaching. And really some of the kindest things that they said, their mouths hung open. Wow, what we didn't know about playing hockey. And it comes from you and a lifetime of experience.
I will make the analogy with you, Alan. I can tell that you love what you do. You're sitting here, you're interviewing people, you're bringing knowledge to your base out there. And as a hockey coach, the best part of my day is when I can get on the ice with the kids. That's my bliss. That's my passion. And the games are like an exam. You get to test yourself, but getting out in practice and having them understand a new skill, a new concept, and enjoying that. Actually, we look at hockey as another lab that the kids have to take during their day.
And to bring them into some kind of expertise with it so that they can go on in life and perhaps some maybe even in hockey.
The one thing about the young student athletes we have at this level, they all know they're not going to make their living playing hockey or volleyball or basketball. They're going to do something different. But they play the game because they love it. They don't want to let it go because it's been such a big part of their life. And these kids at this level, they're well suited for the real world because they're self-reliant. They fix their own helmets. They fill their own water bottles. There's nobody catering to them.
Well, that's an interesting observation, excuse me, as well, because one of the things in the article also was that on a Division I team, everything gets done for you. Pretty much.
Yes.
It's one step below the pros. In a Division III team, we have to wash our own uniforms. What kind of soap do we use? You had to go and seek out expertise from some of the people you used to work with to do these fundamental things, fill the water bottles, etc.
Yeah.
There is nobody standing by to do it. You can't snap your fingers and have everything fall into place.
As a coach, I had to learn things over again, and watching these boys after practice come back and, who's in charge of laundry today, who's fixing up the locker room. Those are things that are done for you at the next level. Matter of fact, I was talking with John Hines, who is the head coach of the New Jersey Devils, and we were colleagues earlier in our career together. And he was talking about kids come out of Division I college hockey now, and they go and play in the American Hockey League, which is the next step below the NHL.
Right.
And it's bad for them. They get less there than they had at college, and that sometimes they have to readjust to that. And but the kids at the Division III level, they're self-reliant. They're ready for the real world because they've had to take care of themselves. They've had to get it done on their own.
And I can tell that you really enjoy it, even with the adjustment, even going from the big head coach's office in the Big Ten to sharing a 10 by 12 office at St. Olaf's, however, sharing it with your son, I think, it's still a whole different world. And it's a reality check, but it's a good reality check.
It really is. It's a reality check about what matters. And what matters is these young men and women that are in hockey or any sport, that they get to go out and enjoy a part of their life that that's been a big part of their life for a long time. And for us, it's hockey. And these kids, they love it. They want to get on the ice. They want to get better. And on Friday and Saturday night when we do battle against another school, they go at it. But on Sunday, they got their fannies right back in the library. And it's very competitive. The MIAC schools, all of them are dynamite when it comes to academics. And they get their fannies back in the library and study and get up on their grades so that when they leave St. Olaf, they're going to have that next step ready for them.
And you have a women's team also at St. Olaf.
That's correct, yes. John Buzzacchini is our women's coach. And as I said, they may have it a little bit worse than us because we get to practice at the Northfield rink. They go down to Faribault. They have to get on the road and travel, during the course of the day, I think it's 40, 45 minutes more than we do just to get ice time. And they have the same issues with labs as we do. So getting this rink built would be a humongous thing for our young people because they would save time and effort. I think our administrators would sleep better at night because they don't have to worry about them being on the road. And for us, and even our visiting teams, the arena that we currently play in doesn't have showers, so we have to go back to campus. The visiting team many times just has to towel off, put their sweatsuits on, and go on the bus.
To the bus.
Yeah,
yes.
So just from a hygiene standpoint,
reminds me of high school, really.
Yeah, actually,
we were on the bus. We would go to the visiting team.
Yeah.
And I usually managed the teams. I wasn't good enough to play on the teams.
But you saw the world in which they
but
lived.
I saw the world,
Yeah.
and yeah.
So that's a big thing. I mean, we're not talking about building an NHL rink, but we'd like to have a nice arena on campus that we could shower at, and the visiting team could shower. It'd be nice for our kids on campus to be able to just walk down to arena and support the teams that are there. So
it would help attendance also,
goodness.
I would say.
Yeah, I mean, the design of the rink is such that we would like to have 800 to 900 individual seats that we could walk around a second tier, and it opens up a lot of possibilities for intramurals with club hockey, broom ball, curling. So it's a multifaceted. It's not just a hockey rink; it'd be an arena that we could do a lot of things in.
Well, I told you about my next door neighbor here in Eagan, Mike Shannon, who the Shannons are wonderful people. They are such good neighbors that Sharon and I have said to them, if they ever move, they have to give us enough notice to move with them, because they are just really salt of the earth people.
Well, you're saying that he still plays, correct?
He is, Mike, it's no secret he's 70, and he still travels with a traveling team all over the country to tournaments, and he still plays. He plays defense, and obviously he plays it well. So it is something you can travel with through your entire life. Sharon and I happen to be bowlers, and we actually met bowling, and it's something we still do. Monday nights. I actually turned down a teaching job once because it was available on Monday nights, and I said, no, Monday nights is our bowling night, and nothing else.
Bowling to you is what hockey is to Mike. You have a passion for it.
Yeah, except Mike really is a good hockey player. My great bowling days were never, but my so-so bowling days are still with us. And it's really important.
I'm not surprised by you talk about Mike playing at 78 because there's something about this game that gets in your blood, and especially if you started to play the game outside. There's a unique feeling about catching a pass and skating on outdoor ice, and and you think about it like. Skating is not like running where you get the pounding on your knees and stuff. If you're playing with guys that don't check, it's a flow game. And to go up and down with the wind in your face, and you can go faster than you can go running. So there's a special feeling about the game of hockey.
And I am going to make sure that the two of you meet at some point.
Excellent.
Because he would love it and you would love it too, I think.
I look forward to that.
Now, a part of your life is called Wine at 9. And it's become a very important part of your life. What's Wine at 9?
My wife and I got into a ritual when I was coaching at higher levels. At night, we'd come back home after a long day, and you would go into the office and you would make recruiting calls, or you would watch video. That's how you finish your day normally. And we came to an understanding at 9 o'clock. I would shut it down, and we would gather in the library, and she would pour us a glass of wine. I kind of like a red wine. Bethy was into white. And we would sit and talk. We would talk about our day and what happened in her world and my world, and what was going on with our kids and stuff. So that became the way that we would close our day. And now you talk about...
That's a great tradition, though. It really is.
And we've actually, funny thing, one of the things we like to do together, you bowl with Sharon.
Yeah.
Bethy and I like to golf. So we only do 9 holes. We do 9, dine, and have some wine. So we extended it into a little bit of the golf. So, and we still continue that ritual today. At the cabin, we get up in the morning and we have a cup of coffee out in the front of our home, and we look at the cornfields and the forest there, the trees. And then at night we go on the deck and we have a glass of wine and look at the lake.
You can't trade that life for anything, though.
No, the lifestyle, the quality of life is off the charts.
How long have you been married now?
38 years. We've known each other 40. I don't know if that matches you and Sharon yet, but
no.
we'll never catch up.
No. We actually are 21 years in a
very
couple
good.
Weeks.
Yeah. But it's the lifestyle is off the charts.
What about scholarships? Do you have scholarships to give? And let's talk about recruiting also. It's got to be so different than level 1, the NHL, level 2, the Big Ten, et cetera. How do you go about it?
I would equate to what we do at St. Olaf to a lot. I had some friends that were at the Division I level, but at the Ivy League schools, and they don't have scholarships at that level. We do not have scholarships at this level. There are most of our kids get financial aid based on their family's income. There are academic scholarships at our school awards to top-end students. We have a leadership scholarship that kids can apply for, and that they determine, and that's based on their community service and teams they've maybe been in charge of, captains of as they've come up. So those are really the access of financial help that our kids can get at this level. But like a lot of Ivy League schools, the first thing I have to ask for is, what is this young person's grades? Can he qualify to get in? His SAT, his GPA? And a lot of kids get eliminated right away because they don't match what our school requires. So that's kind of the process we go through when we're looking at potential student athletes to come to St. Olaf.
So you can't offer them the kind of perks that they would get, a free ride.
Correct.
For instance.
There's none of that. And that's why I think they work so hard at school. I mean, they've got to get something for what their folks are financially investing at them at a school like St. Olaf.
And where do they major mostly? What
our school has a really strong background in medicine, nursing, music. We do have an economics department that is very strong. We have an exercise science department that's coming into its own right now. So those are some of the major areas, but I know that we have a lot of our student athletes go on in the medical business.
How about social sciences?
Social science, as a matter of fact, fell off my plate there, but we just have redone our social science building. It's called Holland Hall. It looks like a castle from Normandy is what I told it was replicated after. And it is a strong part of our school. Thank you for bringing that up.
No, I just retired 2 years ago from teaching here, mostly in community colleges, but I taught a Holocaust and genocide course for 6 years at Inver Hills. That
Close
was
to your heart then.
very popular, and you never know.
You going to come back?
Why not?
You should actually come and see the building. It is worth the drive.
Before you even got here today, Sharon and I said we have got to go down and visit down there.
I will give you a personal tour, my friend. I will do that.
And mostly, though, it comes back to St. Olaf has all of this wonderful programming, but they need some donations.
Yes.
To push this into a full-time rink. So let's see what we can do. And anybody looking in, you've seen the computer graphics, you know where to get a hold of Mike or get a hold of me.
Yes.
And let's see, let's get that rink on campus built so these kids can shower where they play, so they don't have to work around somebody else's schedule, so that I'm ready to drive the Zamboni. Have we got a Zamboni?
We have to get one. We have to get a new one. But have you ever driven one?
No.
Oh, it's a treat. I had the opportunity. Well, the first job at Eau Claire, you do everything. And one of the things I learned to do was drive the Zamboni. So it's a treat.
I'd probably take down the walls. But,
actually, most first-time people do bump into the walls. So you wouldn't be the first.
But, of course, I was at the Nassau Coliseum the year that they won their first NHL championship in overtime.
Yeah, I remember watching.
And
how old were you at that time?
Oh, I was older than you are now, probably. But I'm trying to think. I was there with a couple of the kids, and I'm trying to remember the name, and I can't. I blanked on of the fellow who got the overtime goal, and it was a 4-3 game, and we were thrilled because we were cheering for the Islanders on Long Island at the time.
Well, the Islanders back then, they won 4 in a row.
Yes.
And actually, we were with the North Stars, and they beat us for their fourth. They beat us 4-0 in the finals, the North Stars. But Trottier and Nystrom and
Bobby Nystrom, he's the one who got the goal. That's
story. I coached his son at the national program.
Is that right?
The world gets small, doesn't it?
Yes,
but
it does.
They were such a good team. And that building rocked. It was such a fun building to play in. Well, you were there.
It's about to be torn down, I understand, but they're getting another new Coliseum, so newer and better.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
Well, it really, I'll put these over here. It's been fascinating to hear your story and to feel the passion that you have for what you are doing and continuing to do, even with the different steps along the way. It doesn't seem to have fazed you, and I know you've expressed the fact that you get thrilled when you step on the ice with those kids and the satisfaction you get on seeing them better. Now, what kind of a schedule are you looking at this year?
Well, at our level, we only play 25 games. That's what we're allowed. And it's interesting, one of the big changes coming from Division I, we start a lot later. Like Division I teams, they'll play in the mid-30 to 40, depending on how far they go in the playoffs. We play a 25-game regular season schedule, and then our playoffs, we might get up to 30 games. So it's interesting that we start later. And then we finish earlier.
With
we have
a lot of adverse conditions.
Yeah.
And
and that was an adjustment for us. And one of the
be.
good things working with Ben is that he was able to steer me through a little of that as we got going.
Okay. We've been talking with Mike Eaves, the men's hockey coach at St. Olaf. Fascinating interview. We're going to see him again, and we're going to talk about the season. And Mike, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ron. It's been my pleasure. Thank you, sir.